Hey everybody, Derek here to bring you another video for The Walking Dead Season 5. And in today's video, what I'm going to be doing is addressing some rumors that I've heard about some of the things they're going to do with Walking Dead Season 5 Part 2. And these are definitely very interesting rumors that I've heard about, and I really hope that they are true because it definitely would be very interesting and definitely would push the story. Now, I think most of these predictions are more for the season, like episode 9, maybe episode 10, things like that. So I'm going to address those. So just in case you're not caught up, there may be spoilers that you may hear. So if you don't want to be spoiled, please don't watch the video. Okay. So one of the things that I noticed with the trailer, the trailer that they showed right as they were going on break after Coda, you saw, a couple of different things that they were doing there. And then, of course, if you watch The Talking Dead or if you just YouTubed it, you'll find that there's a sneak peek, which basically is of them burying Beth, as well as a couple of other things going on there. So one of the things that you have is, they're burying Beth in the dirt. You see them, running across like this road that's surrounded by cars. That may have been right after they left Brady Memorial. Maybe not. Maybe later. You also see a picture of Tyrese and Noah standing in front of a door, and basically just Father Gabriel, doing a voiceover of a prayer for burying Beth. And you also see Maggie crying. You see the car driving, things like that. And one of the things that they said was that there may be a time jump in between the 8th episode and the 9th episode. That was one of the rumors that I've heard, is that there's a time jump. I think that's very possible. I think that it's definitely very possible that maybe some of those scenes might be right after, that happened, and then we may pick up like I could picture like the episode starting, or at least somewhere along the lines it's starting one at the beginning. You see them driving in the car. Maybe that scene is like the very first scene of the episode, and perhaps when you get back from the commercial, it may say that time has passed, or they say that time has passed. And one of the things, there's a couple things that I look at that make me believe that may have happened. One is the way that Rick looks. And, I know that sometimes, the way that the characters look may or may not be influential, the length of their hair, the lengths of their beards, things like that. But Rick's beard, in my opinion, looks fuller and thicker than it did in season 5. I may be wrong, but take a look right at the beginning of the trailer and see, like, Rick is looking really, wild. I mean, his beard is pretty much like, all over his face. Very unkempt. And one of the things that I was thinking about was, well, maybe a couple weeks have passed. And, everybody's facial hair grows at a different length. And, of course, it may or may not be the case. But I think that there's a very good chance that, time has passed. And we may be seeing some of the ramifications afterwards of what happened. And there's another reason why I think that might be the case as well, which is where my second rumor comes into play, that the housing community that they come to in the trailer, like that gate, the wall that we talked about, that is the community where Noah was from, which makes sense. I thought about that, and who knows? I mean, it may be called, Wiltshire Estates, or it may be something like Wiltshire Estates, or it may not. It may be that this is Noah's community, and it would make sense because one of the things that you're thinking about is the group is looking for somewhere to be safe. They're looking for somewhere that they can, pull in and, get everything, back to the way it was as best as you can. We need to find some place to be safe. The prison provided that. If the hospital wouldn't have been some, it was run by a bunch of, terrible people like Dawn, maybe Rick would have stayed. There could have been a chance for that, but I think that once you have, you took group members from me, I think that it's, end of discussion. But the group does not want, in my opinion, to be out there all the time. But they're also very hesitant about actually, joining with other people. So one of the things that I could see happening is, they bury Beth, and maybe along the way, this all may happen off screen, but they may decide we need to find some place to stay. And Noah says, well, I have this community that I'm from. And if you remember in Slabtown, he talked about, I believe the community was in Richmond, if I'm not mistaken, Richmond, Virginia. I may be wrong, but I believe it was Richmond, Virginia. His uncle was there, and it was a walled-in community. So that may be, how we can, verify the rumor of the time jump as well as this walled community where they're going. It may be that they've decided we're going to go to Richmond. We're going to see if this walled community is there. Noah's going to, talk with them and let them know what happened. And then we can find a new place to stay. Because at this point, I think the group can trust Noah. I think they've seen that he has the ability to help them. He wants to help them. And I think that he can convince whoever's there to let Rick and his group stay. So I think that that is something that is very possible, that can happen. And I definitely would think that that's really the case, that the rumors that I've read and have been hearing may be true, that this, the beginning part of episode 9, or it may not even happen till episode 10, we don't know. It didn't really say where anything like that was going to be happening. So there are a lot of possibilities that you have. So I think it is very possible that we'll have a time jump, and it might just be, a couple weeks maybe. It's not going to be something big like, 6 months later, here's Rick and the group. I don't think it's going to be that. I think that if there is a time jump, it won't be more than a few weeks to a month, because it just wouldn't make sense that it would take them that long or any longer than that to get to Virginia. I mean, granted, I know that the roads are full of debris and things like that, but I just think that if you go too far into the future, then I think you risk missing out on important storylines, like, with Maggie and, the things that she's going to be dealing with Beth's death. I think that if you go too far into the future, then you're not going to be able to hit on those storylines, and instead Maggie's, I'm not going to say over it, but if you understand where I'm going, you won't be able to see the immediate grief that she's feeling. Whereas a week or two later, people can still be grieving for their loved ones, and it might make more sense that maybe for a few weeks, Maggie's been basically silent, just going along with the flow, and then, ends up there, and to the point where she's ready to talk, or that she's trying to deal with it, and maybe certain things happen, or we see how she's going to deal with that grief, that may result in, some actions that she might take from the comics. So those are some of the rumors that I've been hearing. And I'm definitely very interested to see where that's going to go. But I think that that's a very good possibility of what we might see in these first 2 episodes. We may see that, they do deal with Beth's, body, they do bury it, they have a ceremony, and we may see, some of this on screen, and we may not, but I think it's a very good possibility that that's kind of how we're going to be able to get north, to the Alexandria Safe Zone towards Washington, D.C., or somewhere similar to it, is instead of going there, they're going to go to Virginia and, go to Richmond, where they said that the Noah's people were from, and perhaps try to find shelter there, and then they get there, and the place is just completely wiped out because it might, who knows, it might be because of the Saviors, it might be just because of walkers, we don't know. And I think there's definitely a lot of possibilities there. And, I think that they have a lot that they can run with, and I'm very interested to see what they're going to do. We are definitely getting closer. I'm amazed it's almost January, almost the new year, and I'm very excited as to what Walking Dead has to provide for us in this later half of season 5. I think it's going to be a heck of a lot better than it was in season 4. No offense, but I'm done with the group being separated. I'm done with all that. I want to see a complete collective group working towards one objective and seeing the way that they deal with each other. That's what I want to see. I think I'm going to get my wish, and I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. So, with that, I'm going to bring this video to a close, and I want to thank you all for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I have more videos coming. If you have any suggestions of a video topic that you would like to see, don't be afraid to recommend them. I would definitely be willing to do whatever video you want on Walking Dead or Z Nation at this point. So, thanks guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you very much.